bored. When are we gonna open up presents?
We'll start soon enough, son.
I really want to open up one now. Can we please?
Well, okay, but just one.
Hell yeah! It's a Christmas miracle! It's the new episode of the Circus Catch, the hottest new podcast on video cassette!
Why don't you go ahead and pop that in the VHS player and we'll watch it together.
Okay!
I don't know about you guys, but that kid looks a little old to me. He looks like he plays for Bishop Sycamore. That's how old he looks. Anyways, welcome to what I guess you could call the holiday special on the Circus Catch. Here alongside Jesse Larson, I'm Jordan Wright. Jesse, are we old enough as far as a podcast goes to have a holiday special?
I don't know, Jordan. Well,
Probably not.
let's just call it a Christmas special.
Sure. Christmas special. There we go. Christmas is in a few days. Merry Christmas. Happy holiday season to everybody who celebrates. We had a ton going on in the sports world this week.
Yeah,
We could literally spend the entire show talking about the NFL action because this was one of the wildest weeks that I've ever seen personally. Every single game had so many implications, so many crazy endings, but we have possibly the greatest event in sports of all time take place this weekend as well. So let's start with that. The World Cup final between Argentina and France. The stars absolutely showed up and showed out. This is everything you could want in a World Cup final. Kylian Mbappe and Lionel Messi going at it head to head, and they were the absolute stars of the show. Now, if you didn't get a chance to watch this game, you might have no idea what I'm talking about, but if you did, you really witnessed a real treat that we all got to see happen right in front of our eyes. Argentina held the momentum for a surprisingly long time in this game. Argentina did not let France get a single shot in until around minute 70. I'm not joking. Minute 70 is when France got their first shot in. Pretty early on, around minute 23, Messi hit a penalty kick. About 10, 15 minutes later, Angel Di Maria also got a goal in. So we're looking at 2-0 pretty early Argentina. Again, minute 70 is when Mbappe took that first shot. So it looked for a while like Argentina had this in the bag. And then all of a sudden, minute 80, things change. Penalty kick, Mbappe gets it in off the fingertips of goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez. Every ounce of momentum that Argentina had at that moment switched dramatically to France, and you could feel it in the air. You can't feel a lot of momentum shifts over TV. A lot of times you feel that in person, but physically, you could feel a momentum shift. And not 2 minutes later, another goal from Mbappe. And all of a sudden, almost at the end of regular time, we're looking at a 2-2 tie in the biggest event in the world. This was insane. Insane to watch. And it was early in the morning, so I didn't know if I was just still kind of in a dream state or if this was really happening. It was amazing.
Hey, Jordan, it was early for you. It wasn't too early for everybody else.
You know what? Yeah, that's the price you pay to live in California, I guess. Not the only price you pay, but we're not going to get into all that cost of living stuff in California.
Seriously, crazy. What
right.
Couldn't ask for more out of a World Cup final. I mean, I thought 4 years ago, France and Croatia, that 4-2 finish for France and Mbappe's big finish there was the best final of all time. And just instantly the next World Cup, and we topped that immensely. And then for it to go not only into extra time, but then into PKs, and the way the PK shootout actually went, it was just electric, and you could just feel the intensity, the tension, and the excitement inside that arena, that stadium. It was just, Jordan, my goodness, what a spectacle.
If someone had never seen a soccer game in their life and turned this game on and watched it, I guarantee they got goosebumps and chills because it was that good of a game. What a story. You couldn't have written it better. You really couldn't have.
You can't picture a hat trick for one of the world's greatest players in the World Cup final. It doesn't get any better than that.
I wanted to see that hat trick by Alvarez last week, but yeah, we got to see it from an even bigger superstar in Mbappe.
Oh,
Holy cow. Just real quick to talk about those penalty kicks at the very end. Argentina didn't miss a shot. Argentina hit all 4 of their shots. Obviously, France didn't. Mbappe got his shot in, and guess what? It was off the fingertips again. All 3 of his 4 shots, including that PK at the end, were off the fingertips. Martinez had a really good game at goalkeeper.
I have so much respect for goalkeepers in soccer, because that has got to be one of the most stressful parts of the game, and especially when it comes down to a penalty kick. I mean, I can't even imagine the stress and the expectation to try to stop a ball from 10 yards away from the world's greatest strikers. Like, that is insane to me. And the fact that Martinez and even France's keeper,
Hugo Lloris.
Lloris, they play at such a high level that they are considered elite at their position, and they even still give up goals. And it's just an unprecedented type of elitism and exceptionalism in their field. It's mind-boggling to see just how much expectations and how much pressure is put on these guys.
Yeah, the 8 billion people in the world, and you have these guys who are top 5 at their position out of all of the world's population. It's crazy. But I do want to also mention in those PKs that little stutter step by Messi. That was awesome. It shows why he is in the conversation for greatest of all time.
And it was so cool too to see Messi and Mbappe put on the show that they did at the stage that they did in the World Cup final. Like you mentioned before, 2 of the world's biggest stars doing what they do best, and that just made the game that much better for me. And I'm just so thankful I got to see this incredible matchup between 2 amazing strikers. And man, what a game. I can't talk enough about it. We still got to talk NFL too, Jordan, man.
We do. I just want to go over one more thing with that game real quick. The best thing about that for me was the reactions afterwards. Biggest reaction that I loved though from this was head coach Lionel Scaloni for Argentina, in absolute tears, uncontrollable tears on the sideline. This is a young dude. He's not our age young, but he's like early mid 40s, something like that. Ran over to his family who was up in the stands, about 10, 15 of them, all of them uncontrollable tears, just embracing each other. And that shows the power of something like this, the actual power of not even just the moment, but the power of sports.
Yep.
And how great it is that we get to witness something like this and we get to be a part of a moment like this. Let's go ahead and get into some of this NFL action, Jesse, because there's a lot to talk about. And the first game I want to talk about was something that I've never seen happen in my life. A game that was tied, and and the Patriots decide to lateral at the end of the game, and it cost them dearly. What did you think of that when that happened?
Jordan, I'm gonna be honest with you, like legitimately thought when I saw it, because I didn't see it live, I was looking at the highlights and the replay. I immediately was thinking, okay, so Las Vegas was up, so New England had to score on this play. And then I see it in the bottom corner of the scoreboard, and it's a tie game, and you're lateraling it twice. The first lateral, okay, fine, you got away with that one, but just to chuck it across the field like that, Chandler Jones, I mean, right place, right time. But my goodness, and if you all heard the Patriots radio crew, oh my goodness, they are just as dumbfounded as the rest of us. And I don't know, Jordan.
Gus posted that in the Dan Patrick group.
He did.
And I listened to that. They said something along the lines of, "This is one of the dumbest teams I've ever seen." Like they were so beyond frustrated, yeah. For their own crew to say that, because that was, let's be honest, it was a boneheaded move.
Oh yeah,
for sure. And I also have Ramondre Stevenson in fantasy, so I wasn't super thrilled about that. I mean, he still killed it. I'm in the playoffs. Anyways, we'll get back to my successes later. Yeah, like you said, Chandler Jones, right place, right time. I absolutely loved the way he just ran over Mac Jones. He trucked him absolutely, and just daylight in front of him. 5 black jerseys, silver helmets headed to the end zone. And even the fan reaction, I don't think they knew what was happening. It was just so instantaneous and so random. This has never happened before. Like, it has when teams have been behind and they're in desperation mode and, oh, well, you know, the other team's going to win anyway, so we might as well do what we can. But tie game? Come on. You're professionals. What are you doing?
And New England, hello, Miami Miracle. Are we still reminiscing here? You defensively blew that one, and now you offensively blow this one. Man, I envy New England sports success for the last 20 years. So I kind of revel in this little boneheaded mistake. I'm not gonna lie, Jordan.
I want to be as neutral as possible on this show, so I try not to give away my my allegiances too much. But yeah, it kind of feels good to see those guys go through a little bit of a rough patch after all the success that they've had against my teams. But yeah, another big thing that happened in this game as well, that call at the end of the game, the called touchdown for the Raiders. It was reviewed, almost looked like the toe was on the white line, out of bounds, because technically that gives the Raiders 13 points in the final 32 seconds of the game. It did look out of bounds to me. What did you see on that one?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, Jordan. As much as we want to talk about the last second blunder by New England, you got to kind of point to the refs too here. Kind of a mistake on their part, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I thought he was definitely out of bounds. I don't know. I don't want to harp on officiating too much. It's not really my thing, but yeah, definitely a key moment in the game, I think, Jordan.
Yeah, I agree. The harping on officiating, that's kind of an overplayed thing in all sports, but it does feel like this week in particular, there were a lot of very questionable decisions just all across the board. You think of that, the pass interference calls in the Washington New York Giants game. You think about it in the Miami Buffalo game as well. Here's what they posted on the NFL officiating Twitter page. The ruling on the field was a touchdown. After review, there was no clear and obvious visual evidence to overturn the on-field ruling. And in all sports, but especially football, there's 3 different ways a call can go. You can have a call confirmed, meaning they got it right, and there's clear visual evidence. Call overturned, there's clear visual evidence that they did not get the call right. Call stands, meaning they don't have enough clear visual evidence. To me, it looked like they did. And again, I wasn't rooting against the Raiders at all, but I do feel like they whiffed on that one a little bit. It did look like his toe was over the line. But hey, it's sports. You don't leave it in the hands of the refs, and you certainly don't lateral to try to get a touchdown when you're tied and there's no time left on the board. If you're not in field goal range, take a knee, go to OT, take your chances. All right, let's get into another game with just one of the most epic collapses of all time. I don't know which one was worse because that one was instantaneous. This one happened over time. Let's talk about these Indianapolis Colts falling from the graces of a 33-0 lead to the Minnesota Vikings, the largest comeback in NFL history. And guess who was on the losing end of that comeback?
Matty Ice.
Mr. 28-3. Oh, I feel so bad for him. I feel so bad. He's been on the losing end of the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history and the biggest comeback in NFL history. One is to Tom Brady. I get it. This one was to Kirk Cousins in a primetime game. Kirk Cousins is known to be just god-awful in primetime games. This is such a bad look for this quarterback. And in my opinion, and I hate to say that there's one definitive game that keeps you out of the Hall of Fame, but he was fringe. He was kind of fringe on the conversation anyways. I think this solidifies his place as not getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you're giving him a little more credit than I would, Jordan, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, he took the Falcons to the Super Bowl when they had relatively little success, but has obviously mightily struggled in big time games. But man, 33-0 at halftime. And kudos to Minnesota for sticking with it too, man. I mean, my goodness. Coming back down 33-0, largest comeback in NFL history. I mean, I'm kind of speechless, to be honest with you. I'm not speechless very often, Jordan, but yeah, and at one point, Minnesota had time of possession in their favor, and then in second half they had the ball for 80% or something like that. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But Minnesota dominated the second half.
Oh, for sure.
The epitome of tale of two halves. The epitome of tale of two halves. I'm so speechless for that game.
You type that into Google, this is the game that's going to show up.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Man, big shout out to KJ Osborne. This was really a KJ Osborne coming out party. Scored the first points for the Vikings about halfway through the third quarter. Ended the game with 10 catches, 157 yards, and a touchdown. He was solid in this game. It was great to see, obviously the guys like Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen get their accolades, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins for sure. Man, what a good game for him. Couldn't be happier for such a good guy that doesn't get enough credit for being as skilled as he is in this league.
He's big time for their comeback. I mean, I wouldn't say he's the sole reason they came back, but you would expect a guy like Justin Jefferson or Dalvin Cook to really be the mainstay or the go-to for the type of comeback that they had. But Osborne really was the leader, methodically helping keep drives alive and extending the drive and I mean, just taking matters into his own hands and willing this Vikings team to a victory. And obviously Kirk Cousins under center getting it done. But man, yeah, high props up to KJ Osborne.
Dalvin Cook also on my fantasy team. Just thought I should throw that out there. So it looked bad for me early. It looked real bad early, but yeah, between him and Ramondre, I think I got about 50 points between them. So,
and
PPR points. I get you. I'm just gonna
I went down this week, man. I went down this week.
Are you out now?
Yeah, I'm in the went out in the semifinals. So no riches for me this year. But
I get you.
I had fun this year with it. Thank you, Trevor Lawrence, for keeping me in the last couple weeks. I mean, and then man, Devontae Adams. Thank you, good sir. Even though Las Vegas struggled this year, yeah, those two guys really helped me stay alive there down the stretch.
Oh, go ahead.
Speaking of Jacksonville, though, man.
Yeah, that's an amazing segue. Let's talk about that game. The game I've been talked to about the most and people have asked me about the most this week is Jacksonville-Dallas because, oh man, just another game where this insane ending is just all that anyone wants to talk about. Walk-off pick six at the very end of the game. And I'm not going to blame Dak Prescott for that one. It looked like it was off the body of maybe it was CeeDee Lamb. I'm not 100% sure. Off one of the Dallas receivers. Right place, right time for Rayshon Jenkins for that walk-off pick six. Dallas had a pretty significant lead in this one, too.
27-10.
Blown comeback again, man. What's going on in the NFL right now? People can't hold leads?
I mean, it's crazy, Jordan, too, because you look at it down the stretch, Dallas every time they look like they were an extended the advantage farther. Here comes Jacksonville pushing it down the field again, scoring. Lawrence, the big touchdown pass to Zay Jones, I believe it was, the 60-yarder.
Zay Jones also on my fantasy team. Great midseason pickup.
Yeah, so
let's go.
I think that was really the momentum shifter for Jacksonville. They really got the crowd behind them, and it solidified that chance for that comeback. And just being able to keep the momentum going, get it into overtime. And man, Dak Prescott, again, not putting this one on him, but 9 interceptions since he came back. That's the most in the NFL in that time period. Dallas is still winning football games, but if Dak Prescott is going to lead Dallas to an NFC Championship game or to a Super Bowl, he has got to take care of the football better. My goodness. And if Jacksonville wants to get a chance at a playoff spot, which they are only a game behind Tennessee, and they play Tennessee in Week 18, that game could really very well come down for the AFC South title. But if Jacksonville wants to get to the playoffs, Trevor Lawrence has to keep doing what he's doing and taking care of the football on the flip side of that. So 2 quarterbacks on 2 opposite spectrums to get their team into the playoffs or through the playoffs. And it's so exciting to see it happen and see it unfold throughout the NFL season, man. I love it.
I want to hear a definitive take from you. Is Jacksonville winning the AFC South?
So my heart says yes, but something inside of me tells that they could collapse against Houston again. They are Houston's lone win of the season. Tennessee and Jacksonville both have to play Houston again, and then they both play each other, as I said. So it could be that in-between game where Tennessee has to play Dallas, and then Jacksonville has to play the Jets, who are really struggling without Breece Hall in the lineup and in that offense. Never mind what Sauce Gardner's doing with that defense. Just don't throw it in his direction. But
That's a smart move.
yeah, Jacksonville, Tennessee, the AFC South is definitely going to come down to that Week 18 matchup at the beginning of the new year. It really is. And that the winner of that game, I think, is in the playoffs, because the next 2 weeks, I think they go into Week 18 deadlocked with the same record. So, man, what a time! What a great ending to a season. And let's not even begin to talk about the NFC South. Let's not even talk about the NFC South.
Yeah, I don't feel like talking about that division. That's just it shouldn't be this up for grabs. It's all those teams are so bad. But yeah, just back to this AFC South thing. Houston has looked pretty solid the last couple weeks against a couple really good teams, a couple playoff teams, against Dallas and Kansas City. Obviously not getting the wins in either of those games, but that could be a very big factor in deciding this division as well, because like you said, Tennessee and Jacksonville have yet to play them for the second time. So I could see that happening and it coming down to the Week 18 game, Tennessee versus Jacksonville. I do think Jacksonville gets in because of the way Tennessee's been playing. They've lost 4 in a row. Ryan Tannehill's banged up. He had to get carted off the field. Mind you, he did come back one drive later, but he's been dealing with that injury on his ankle since October. Uh, it's not a good sign when your quarterback goes down mid game. You lost 4 games in a row, albeit very, very close against the Chargers this week. But still, they're missing. Guess what? Guess what they're missing? Big playability downfield. If only they had an elite receiver to help them out with that. I think they haven't had an elite receiver since A.J. Brown, who was on the team, a year ago.
Last year. Oh, and what's he doing right now? Oh, yeah, he's got the
dominating
best team in the NFL.
Oh,
They're
man.
2-1 right now. So, yeah.
Good for A.J. getting the bag, going to a great team. Tennessee.
Well done, Tennessee. Well done.
Good Lord. They drafted his quote-unquote replacement, Treylon Burks, who has busted. It's too early to say bust. But he is not ready to fill those shoes. He has 1 touchdown this year. He's gone for 359 yards. It has not worked out the way that they intended it to. Too early to say bust, like I said. We'll see how he does later, but the way that he's playing, the way that Tennessee's playing, versus the way Jacksonville's playing, Trevor Lawrence, 9th in total yards this year, 5th in total touchdowns with 24. Over the last 4 games especially, he's been ridiculously hot. 11 touchdowns, just 1 interception. And that 1 interception coming this week. Jags are 3-1 in their last 4. Tennessee's 0-4 in their last 4. Overall, I do think Tennessee's the better team, but they're sure not playing like it right now. So Jesse, we're getting close to the end of our time today. We need to talk about a couple more things before we sign off. I know you've got something really big you want to talk about right now, so why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Frank Gore Jr. Wow. The Lending Tree Bowl. He plays for Southern Miss, the Golden Eagles. They took on Rice in the Lending Tree Bowl. An NCAA bowl record, 329 yards on the ground. And yes, he's a running back just like that. He set it up and set Southern Miss up to win this one. Big time day. Just Jordan, oh my goodness. I watched this. I only watched the first half of this game, but he just went off. 59 yards, 55 yards, 64 yards, just tanking Rice's rushing defense. Not that Rice's rushing defense was great to begin with, but my goodness, man, the kid can run, the kid can play, and he looks just like his old man.
That's wild. You said 329 yards?
Yeah, NCAA.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It's crazy. It's crazy too, because he only had 3 touchdowns on 21 carries. Just looking at it, he had 4 carries over 50 yards. 4 carries for more than 50 yards in one game. That has only been done twice since Barry Sanders did it 7 times in 1988 in his Heisman season.
Yeah, shout out OK State. There you go.
Yeah,
you got that one in. So speaking of our college allegiances, I want to give a huge shout out to my Fresno State Bulldogs winning and I'm not super excited about this name, but they won the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. They dominated 29-6. They are the first team in FBS history to start 1-4 and finish a season with 10 wins. So great season, Bulldogs. Way to beat Boise State in the Mountain West Championship. Kudos, and what a great season.
Like you said, dominated Washington State in the LA Bowl. Like, dominated defensively. Offense, man, Jake Haener, I think he could really end up being a stud in the NFL. He plays like an NFL
Oh, I love that.
He plays like an NFL quarterback, leading an offense, just methodical. Like we talked about last week on the show, Brock Purdy. I liken Haener to Brock Purdy. I really do. I think he can be a stud in the NFL, man.
I would not be opposed to that. Hey, look at what Derek Carr became.
Yeah.
Couple more things real quick. Both of them involving the New York Yankees. The Yankees signed Carlos Rodon to their rotation. I think this bolsters the Yankees rotation to being one of the best in the American League. Not that it wasn't already, but I think they do surpass Houston. I think maybe the only team in the AL that they are not better than in as far as starting pitchers rotation wise is Chicago. The White Sox rotation is just insane. But there's not a lot of great starting rotations. So Yankees, I'll put them at number 2 for now. Last thing before I go real quick, I want to give a big shout out to myself because I was absolutely right about what I said about that home run ball from Aaron Judge. So for those of you who don't know, yes, Aaron Judge set an American League record, and everybody lost their minds when he set that American League record with a 60-second home run. He was offered $3 million for that ball, turned it down. The guy who caught the ball was offered $3 million for that ball, turned it down, said he was going to take it to auction because he was expecting a wild amount of money for it. It went at auction for $1.5 million. Granted, that's a huge amount of money. That's life-changing money. But this is not as big of a deal as people are making it. It's going to be a Yankees record. But the American League, the National League, it doesn't mean as much anymore. No pitchers hitting. It's universal DH. Everybody plays everybody. The leagues it's just one league now. It's Major League Baseball. Yeah. No American League, no National League. So Jordan, American League record, throw that out the window.
Yeah, Jordan.
I was right.
I'm honestly surprised he got that much money for it. Yeah. To be honest with you. Yeah.
I got so much flack for this. It just feels good to have this win.
Yeah. Shout out to yourself.
Yes.
Shout out to yourself.
Yes. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this Christmas edition of the Circus Catch. I hope you and your family have a wonderful weekend coming up, and be safe, and blessings to you guys and to everybody out there watching. Thank you guys so much for keeping track with us. Hope you have a great Christmas and a holiday season. So we'll see you next week. Peace out.
Happy anniversary, babe.